Hello guys, welcome to my bathroom. I have to dye my roots, and I've been kind of like recording these rant videos by themselves, and I don't want to say it wastes a lot of time, but I realized that I could be multitasking, and at the same time that I'm doing something, I could be ranting. I was like, oh my god, this is life changing, a life-changing realization right here. The only thing that sucks is the audio quality in my bathroom is going to be so disgusting. I feel bad for anyone who listens to this in headphones because I feel like, it's not worth. Every time I use headphones, I always think like the song I'm listening to has to be worth the ear damage, Like I want to blast this, but like, is this song worth the hearing loss? Sometimes it's not. And so I never listen to talking videos with my headphones in because I'm like, I don't care for your voice. You're not worth the hearing loss. So, I'm honored that you guys feel like my bathroom is worth the hearing loss. I don't know. Anyway, but I have to dye my roots, and I was thinking about this, like, for the past 2 days, I've really been thinking about Mika. Shocker, I know. I can only think about him. I'm going insane. I hate it so much. I hate myself. I really love how much he's helped me and, brought me on this journey of self-acceptance. And, I see myself in him so much. I just hate the fact that I'm so vocal about it. I hate the fact that my whole life revolves around this man now. And I hate the fact that everything I do is because of him. Like, sometimes I'll do something and I'm like, oh, but like, Mika wouldn't do that. I'm so embarrassing for not doing that. I'm like, do I need Mika to do everything so I can exist happily? Like, I feel like Mika's message is to, like, be yourself, not be me. And I don't think he wants to make little Mika clones. I don't think. Maybe he does. Maybe that's secretly what his music is about. But I just hate it because I am turning into a mini Mika clone. And I'm embarrassed because I made a whole rant being like, guys, I am Mika. And it's just embarrassing watching the prophecy become true because, so I made, a trip. So I'm going to see this man on tour in Europe. I made a ticket. I have everything all planned out, and I'm seeing him. I bought 2 tickets. I bought 2 tickets to his show in Belgium. Because I couldn't decide if I wanted to get a sitting or a standing ticket. And I'm telling you, it was stressing me out for about like a week and a half. And I literally was just like going through an early life crisis, figuring out what type of seating I want. And then I realized, wait, this man, he has 2 shows. This is the only location that has 2 different shows. And I was like, oh my god, why don't I just buy 2 tickets? I'm an adult. I can do whatever I want with my money. So I bought 2 tickets, and the first one, I'm going to have a seating ticket so I can, like, watch the show and really take in what's happening. And then the second show, the next day, I'm going to have a standing ticket so that way I can be in, like, the, like, pit and, like, experience the show, be a part of the crowd, be, whatever. And I do like Mika because his shows are very relaxed from the clips that I've seen. And I'm hoping that they're going to be different or whatever, or, but the thing is, I realized that, I'm watching all these clips of Mika and all his shows and everything, and some of them are in French because, this man, he speaks 5 different languages, and one of them just so happens to be French. And I was like, oh man, like I wish they had subtitles. And then I realized, wait a minute, the language they speak in Belgium is French and Dutch. And, I don't think this guy, because his tour's only in Europe, I don't think he had his American fans in mind. I don't think he's going to do the show in English, basically. I think if he goes to a country where they speak French, he's going to speak the language that he knows how to speak. So I was like, wait a minute. So I'm going to go to 2 of these shows and I'm not even going to understand what he's saying because I don't speak any French. And I was like, oh, dang it. Like, you know, my mom was telling me, hey, now that you're going to go to a whole nother country by yourself, you should probably start learning some French or something. And I was like, but I hate that language. Like, it's so ugly. I don't like how it sounds. I don't want to learn French. I don't see the point in learning a language if I know it's not going to be long term, if that makes sense. So I just am like, I don't want to do that. But the other thing is, I've been having I have way too much free time. I am not in college. I am part-time employed. So a lot of the time, I'm just kind of home by myself, and I'm not utilizing it at all. You know, I'm seeing myself waste my life away as I'm living it. And, you know, honestly, I feel like I have these feelings. I'm very connected with myself. And I feel like my 40-year-old and 60-year-old self specifically is like, you know, visiting my body and my 20-year-old self. Like, I saw this quote on TikTok that was like, if you were 6 years old and you know, time traveled back to your 20-year-old body again, what would you do? Like, imagine you woke up today, you were 60 and now you're 20 again. What would you do with your youthful body again? And, you know, ever since I saw that quote, I have felt like I'm a 6-year-old in my 20-year-old body again. And I'm really enjoying it. I'm like, oh my God, I'm not in any pain. I can eat whatever I want. I look beautiful. I started riding my bike, and I'm like blasting my music because I don't have any hearing loss. And so I'm enjoying my 20s as my 60s. But the problem is I'm also thinking, oh my God, this is the perfect time for me to learn a language because I'm not in school. I'm working part-time. I have a lot of free time. And because I just have this strong urge to learn, I want to learn something. I've always had this thirst for knowledge in my life. And so I'm noticing that I have that thirst. Like, I'm wanting to learn a language. I'm wanting to learn something. And because I'm not in college, I'm filling that void with Mika. I have gone insane researching everything about this man. You know, I know his whole life story. I know every single clip. I know. And once again, I feel like I'm in elementary school because when I was homeschooled, I did the same thing where I refused to do school, but I learned like everything about the Undertale fandom. And I really hate it because I remember at 10, I also was thinking, you know, I have a lot of free time. I have even more free time than normal 10-year-olds. I should probably learn something useful for the rest of my life, like learning a language. I mean, I'm 10. Like, I don't even have to study. I just have to, like, watch cartoons in that language, and then I'll, like, get it. And I remember I watched one cartoon in Spanish, and I was so bored because I didn't understand anything, and I was like, no, it's not worth it. That was so boring. I don't want to waste my time on that. And now I wish I could go back in time and, like, punch my 10-year-old self because, like, oh my God, do you know how nice it would be to just speak another language? Like, ugh. And then so now that's why I feel like I'm like 40 years old in my 20-year-old body. And it's like, hey, this is the perfect time to like do anything with your life, you know? And once again, I'm like, I just don't feel like doing that. And it's annoying because, you know, part of the reason why I don't, like, I'm having this, like, so Mika has a lot of songs in French. And I'm singing these French songs, right? But I'm just singing my made-up gibberish. But when I'm singing my made-up gibberish, I'll look up the lyrics in French, and I'll try to, like, you know, hear what he's saying, and connect it with the lyric that he's singing. So I'm teaching myself how to pronounce things in French to pronounce these lyrics that I don't know. And it's like, oh, like that's okay because I just want to sing a song. But But I even remember thinking, like, I should just look up a tutorial on how to, pronounce French words. That way I wouldn't have to figure this out myself. I could just know how to pronounce them, and that would help me learn the lyrics faster. And I was like, no, because I don't want to learn French, so I'm just going to do it the DIY hard way. Sorry, my cat keeps scratching on the door and wanted to come in and out. Anyway, so I'm just going to learn this the hard way, where I'm not, maybe I'm going to accidentally teach myself something wrong. Right? That's fun. That sounds like a great plan. And it's driving me crazy because I'm trying to teach myself French anyway. What's the problem? And it's also because I'm like, well, I'm embarrassed because I don't want people to know that I'm so obsessed with this dude that I'm willing to learn a whole language just to listen to his songs, And I'm like, oh, thank God that I'm doing such a great job hiding how much I'm obsessing over him right now. God forbid I actually get something beneficial out of it. Because right now I'm just posting Mika interview clips on my story, and I'm not learning anything from it though. I'm just like, hey guys, did you know that he learned Italian in 2 months? Isn't that crazy? I'm not doing anything though. I'm going to look back, instead of being able to look back on my Mika obsession and go, wow, that was so crazy, but at least I know French or something. I'm going to look back and be like, wow, I was such an idiot and obsessed and didn't benefit from that at all. It's driving me insane because I'm worried that people are going to judge me. And I'm like, okay, I don't think anyone actually is. I don't think that would be such a cute story that, oh my God, I became so obsessed with the celebrity, I learned French. I don't even think I'm going to learn French fully. Like I said, I don't like the language. But wouldn't it be helpful to know something? Wouldn't it be good to get some benefit out of this? Right now, I'm not benefiting at all, other than, he's helped me in my self-journey and self-acceptance journey. But, skill-wise, wouldn't it be good to, know something? When I was 15, I was super obsessed with anime and everything, and I didn't want to teach myself Japanese because I didn't want to be one of those cringy weeaboos that only learn Japanese because I watch anime. But I did play a rhythm game that was only in Japanese, and so I taught myself the basics. So that way I could, make my way around the video game. And I did slowly, through immersion, learn some Japanese. Just like how I'm learning some French through Mika immersion. I'm looking at his lyrics and I'm learning how to pronounce these things. And I did the same thing with Japanese. And so it's kind of helped me a tiny bit to know how to read, okay or cancel in Japanese whenever I see an application, a pop-up on the internet. It's not, I didn't spend I don't need to spend the rest of my life dedicating my life to this language, because I need to learn Spanish. So, because I live in Texas and everyone here speaks Spanish, and that's a language that I've learned my entire life. And I was really close actually to I became conversationally fluent. Or at least I could eavesdrop on conversations pretty well this time last year, because I was dating my Mexican boyfriend for 3 years, and I was in college classes for it, and I think I officially was at a B1 level when I graduated college. And funny enough, I was so fluent in Spanish that that's how I found out my boyfriend was cheating on me, because I read his messages in Spanish, and I found out that he was cheating on me with his cousin. So that's great. And as you can imagine, I didn't really like the language after that. I didn't really like Spanish after that, because I was kind of learning Spanish because of my boyfriend. And, to learn, to become so fluent in a language that you learn you're getting cheated on isn't the best motivation. I mean, maybe for some people it would be that wow, finally I found out that my boyfriend's a jerk. I should learn more. Like, I remember thinking, wow, I've become so fluent that I can finally understand these messages and see that he was cheating on me. I was like, I should probably continue this instead of, becoming discouraged. Because obviously I'm at a crossroads or a turning point, or like I'm really close to becoming seriously fluent in Spanish. And then I quit because I didn't like the language anymore, because I almost want to say it's traumatic for me because it reminds me of my ex. So, I'm like, well, I should spend all this time and energy like learning Spanish if I'm, gonna spend my time learning a language. But I hate Spanish. I don't like it anymore. And, but I still have that urge to learn a language. And so I'm like, well, I don't want to learn French because it's just an ugly language and a nightmare for, I feel like, someone with dyslexia. Because their spelling system is ridiculous. And, but honestly, the tiny bit of Spanish knowledge that I have comprehended or stayed or whatever, remembered, has helped me with the Mika French, because I'm like, oh, that's exactly the same in Spanish. Which, shocking, when two languages come from the same Romance family, who would have guessed that they're similar? So I'm like, it also will help me with my Spanish if I just learn French, I guess. Like, I don't have to spend the rest of my life dedicating, learning French to Mika. But I'm still like, yeah, but like, what's the point of like learning a language if I'm not gonna go all the way? Because even though, yeah, it will help me with my Spanish, like, I just don't want to do that. Like, once again, it's just so embarrassing to learn a language because it's a celebrity. Oh my god. And I'm going insane because I'm like, am I seriously talking myself out of learning a language? Like, what a problem to have. Oh god, I really want to like learn something so badly. I have all this motivation and urge to learn a language, and I have the free time to do it, and but I shouldn't. Because that's just gonna be so embarrassing. Oh, that's so embarrassing for me. Sometimes I really can't stand my brain, because what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Like, I can already feel the regret in my 40-year-old self, who's like astro projecting into my body right now. It's like, you idiot! Oh my god! Why can't you just learn the stupid language? You want to learn French anyway, who cares? Like, oh my god, I cannot stand it. But anyway, so I've been really putting off learning French, and then when I found out that they speak French in Belgium, I was like, oh frick, like, I'm gonna go to a country where they speak a language that I don't. And I was like, well, I guess I'll just figure out how to like find that, because I don't want to learn like, where's the bathroom? I would rather have my life on hard mode and know nothing. So, but then when I figured out that he's probably going to do a show in French, I was like, okay, I might have to learn French now, because I need to know all the jokes. I'm going to have so much FOMO if the whole entire crowd is laughing and I don't understand what's happening. But I'm like, but it's, the show's in February, so I have about 3 months to learn French. And I mean, he learned Italian in 2 months. But he's like a prodigy, honestly. He's a language prodigy. His songs are they're big on wordplay, and I've never been good on vocabulary, so I'm like, I don't think, I don't think that's how a normal person can do that. But I don't know. I have this one friend who, started learning French because one of her online boyfriends spoke French. Now, they claim that that's not why they started learning French, but it kind of was like, And was it a little embarrassing that they liked the guy that much? A little bit. But at the same time, who am I for judging? Am I benefiting from judging? No. They're going to be the one who knows French. Like, I'm just constantly fighting myself in my brain, and I'm like, I can't believe I'm fighting myself wanting to learn a language. Like, seriously, what a problem to have that I'm trying to talk myself out of learning something when I have this very strong urge to, just because I'm embarrassed of how how it got kickstarted, or, oh, I wanted to know how the jokes were going to be at the concert. So I learned a whole language. Oh my god, I'm so quirky. Yes, you are. You're already labeled a manic pixie dream girl by everyone in your life. You're already strange and do weird things. Would it be so out of the ordinary for you to learn a language because you wanted to watch a show? You're traveling to another continent to watch the show in the first place. I don't think you're a normal person. You know, I feel like in the context of you, it makes sense to learn a language to watch a show for 2 hours that you bought 2 tickets to. You know, oh my god. I want to scream. And, like, this is seriously just the battle that's happening in my mind all the time. Because I also, all the other rants I've been posting, I'm in a battle with myself of, like, posting content, right? I love ranting. I love posting things. I love, putting myself out there. And I have this strong calling to, just post things on the internet, to make 1-minute videos of me telling story times. And I have this strong calling to do that. And, the more I put it off and be like, no, I'm not going to be good at that. No, I'm not. People are going to make fun of me. No, I'm going to. The more insane I go, because I'm, going against what my body wants or whatever, my calling, I think of the advice that's like, if you have a calling, never ignore it because you don't want to miss your chance or whatever that advice is. And I remember as a kid being like, you idiot, of course, why would anyone ignore that? Like, if my dream job is to be a celebrity, like, why wouldn't I do that? Because then I would have the chance to be a celebrity and, like, have a ton of money and blah, blah, blah. And now as an adult, I'm like, no, I don't want to put myself out there. I'm going to be so bad at it. It's like, oh my god. Once again, what a problem to have. Do you know how many people, like, would love to be in your position? You have the energy and the calling and the whatever to do this, and you're not doing it because it's going to be so cringy of me. You're already cringy. You're already autistic. You're already so strange and weird. No one understands your brain, and that's what they like about you. Why are you trying to fit in and be normal? Like, you've never been normal your whole life, and now all of a sudden, when you're finally going to benefit from it, you're like, no, instead of being able to learn a language, instead of being able to post videos of myself, I am still going to be strange and post about this random celebrity on my story all the time and talk about random things, and then I won't actually learn anything from it. That's what I'm going to do. Wow. Amazing. That way, in 20 years when we are 40, we can once again regret it and hate ourselves. Just like how we hated ourselves at 10 for seeing the perfect opportunity to learn a language. Now, we get to just have our entire life be like that, where we're like, oh my god, what was wrong with 20-year-old me? I saw the stars aligned and I could perfectly learn this, and I decided not to because, it was going to be too cringy. Okay, do they know the language? Do they, what was the other thing? Are they the one posting videos or whatever? Like, I can't. It also, I'm trying so hard to, like, learn how to be, how to just listen to my body, my intuition, how to not question myself. Because just my whole life has been questioning myself, and so I'm finally, for the first time in, years, I think, when I was a kid, I used to listen to my body, my intuition. I would eat when I was hungry, and I would blah, 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 and I remember adults would be like, no, you're not hungry right now. And I'd be like, yes, I am. And they'd be like, no, you're not, because it's not eating time yet. And I'd be like, what is wrong with you? What does time have to do with me being hungry? So I feel like as children, we are just like gaslit in every single situation. And I really hate adults for that. But especially autistic or neurodivergent children, I feel like are given, even more, are gaslit even more. Because, we're just so different that adults don't know what to do with us. And they don't believe us. Like, I remember as a kid saying things, I don't know, I just had very early pattern recognition early on. And whenever I would tell things to other children or to other adults, or they would be like, no, that's not going to happen. And then that would happen, and I would be like, but the all-knowing adults in my life told me that wouldn't happen. So, like, what's wrong with me? I don't know, just strange. I didn't like being a kid. I like being an adult way more. But yeah, so my entire life as a kid, I learned to like not trust myself. And unfortunately, now as an adult, I have to learn the lesson of like, no, I was right the whole time. You should actually listen to your body. So for the first time in my long life, I'm having to stop fighting myself over everything. Like, I'll be like, I'm hungry. And instead of being like, no, I can't eat because some arbitrary number on the clock hasn't hit that yet, I'm like, okay, let me eat. And then it's like, well, I need to eat something healthier. I need to eat something, what is going to max out my benefit. And I'm like, honestly, instead of, and then I'll just stress myself out thinking like, wait, I don't know what the best meal is. So I'll just like freak out and I just won't eat any meal then. I'll just think, what am I in the mood for? And then I'll just eat whatever I want, and is it like macaroni and cheese every single time? Yes. But, I've learned that eventually, once I stop feeling like I have to do the right thing all the time, I eventually do push myself out of my comfort zone. It just takes me a while to finally get sick of constantly, doing whatever. Like, I'm getting sick of eating only junk food. Now, I'm 21, so after 21 years of only eating I think I started eating junk food consistently when I was like, we'll say 15. So after 5 or 6 long years of eating whatever I want and it always being junk food, I'm finally getting to the point where I'm like, I'm kind of sick of this, honestly. I think I want an apple. But then because, I'm so used to, well, if you're going to eat healthy, then like, you can never eat junk food ever again. I'm afraid that if I eat an apple, I'm gonna, now I see that I have the ability to eat healthy. So now I'm choosing to eat unhealthily. So I'm like, wait, I don't want to lose my junk food though. So I'll just continue eating the junk food because, no one is saying this to me. I have invisible haters in my life. Like, no one cares. And I'm like, wait, they're gonna like ban junk food if I like eat an apple. So I'll just continue eating junk food so that way no one knows that I have the ability to eat an apple. Like, I really do feel insane. And so I'm so sick of it. And I've had other, what is it called? Examples in my life that I see that if I just keep pushing myself out of my comfort zone and I do listen to my body, eventually I do quote unquote the right thing. And I have a more neutral view on it because I'm not doing it because it's the right thing. I'm doing it because I want to. And I'll give you an example, but I need to finally do the actual, like, I need to put the bottle, the dye in the bottle, and I don't know how to do this, so let me read the instructions, but I will be right back. So actually, I bought the root one. Normally I buy just the normal dye, but it's a lot, and I always had a lot of excess, and I felt bad, and then I was like, wait a minute, they sell like just root ones at the grocery store anyway, and they're obviously cheaper. So I bought this instead, and I'm trying to do like an ombre. So, because right now it just looks like I'm balding. And I know ghost roots are in, but like, I don't like the beginning of them. And I don't, like, I want it to be an ombre effect. And so I want to have it from black to brown to blonde, and then eventually I can grow out my hair naturally. And I tried to do, the salon dye, because I know that box dye is like the worst crime you can do in like the hair community world. Well, I don't care. I like box dye because it's like, everyone's like, oh my god, splat is like, literally just chemicals, just straight up nuclear bombs on your hair. Like, it never comes out. I'm like, yes, that's the point. I don't want it to ever come out. What is the point of hair dye if it's gonna wash out? But anyway, so I tried salon dye, and I got medium and light brown because the lady told me that, oh yeah, that's gonna blend so seamlessly. And I didn't feel like it did anything. Maybe I applied it wrong, or maybe I put too much applicator or whatever. I don't care. I'll figure that out later. But anyway, so I bought the box dye, and last time I bought 3.0, and that doesn't look brown to me. That looks black. So I was like, okay, let's try dark brown. If dark brown still doesn't work, I don't know what to do. I'm like, I guess black is just my permanent color now. But apparently I have to put on this pre-color serum, which I've never done before, so that's interesting. Anyways, so the example that I, want to use or whatever is, so the beginning of this year, I started the habit of just kind of driving around my town and the highway, and, I would go up and down the highway, and I would just blast music. And I loved it. It was so fun. I would, speed and break the speed limit, and shockingly never got pulled over. I would see a lot of police officers. And conveniently, when I would go like 110 on the highway, I never encountered one, which I just have really good luck in general. And I don't know why, but I'm very thankful that, I don't know if I should be admitting that online. I don't know what the statute of limitations are, but I wasn't speeding, but, hypothetically, if I imagined myself speeding, right? And, so I did that, but then eventually I got bored of just going up and down the highway and seeing the same exits. So it was like, I started exploring the exits, and I started exploring my town. And I was like, I'm going to learn, I've been driving for a year now, and I still don't know how to get anywhere. And I've lived in my town for like 14 years. And, I still don't know how to get anywhere. Like, okay, yes, I was, I was driven everywhere, but you have to understand I was in the passenger seat, okay? How was I supposed to know that I have to pay attention? What, because I'm going to drive here eventually? You only gave me 14 or 13, 12 years in preparation. Like, this is such a shocker. So I really started from zero when I started driving last year. And it's just kind of embarrassing to still not know where I'm going after having my license it's going to be almost 2 years in 2 months. So I was like, that's it. I'm going to learn like my town. I'm going to learn how to get somewhere, and I'm going to learn directions. And so I started, instead of just driving up and down the highway, then I started just driving everywhere and just, seeing all the different streets there are and trying to test myself and trying to see, all right, well, let's go here without directions. Let's see if I can figure out how to get to the highway without using Google, or and I can safely say after 8 months of, just kind of exploring and driving around and trying to figure out everything on my own, I still have no idea where I'm going. I have no idea where anything is in my town. I still use, if I actually need to get somewhere, I use Google, because unfortunately my brain, it works in memories. And so I only remember how to get to a specific place, or I only remember a specific street if I have a memory attached to it. So I love whenever I, almost crash and die somewhere, because then I'm like, well, now I know how to get to my job, because I remember, oh yeah, that's where I almost crashed and died, and that's how I know I take a left. So, and every time I drive, I just always think, right, and that's why I almost crashed and died. Now I take a left. And so if I don't have a memory like that, if I don't have a memory associated with a street or with a location, or I just do not remember. And, it worked well when I was in school And, like public high school was small enough. I knew all the secret passageways in my high school. And that's why, I remember I would take different routes to my classes to school every day until I knew the layout of the school pretty well. And it took me about a year to have like an internal map of my entire school. And it was impossible for me to get lost. And so I thought, yeah, so I should be able to do the same with, the world, the roads. And, no, I guess it's just too much of an open world for me because I really have no idea where I'm going. And it's so annoying and embarrassing to be 21 and live some of your whole life and still be like, can we like put, I know I go here like every day, but like, can we put that in to go home? Anyway, but so, I still like drive around sometimes listening to music but I'm getting sick of it because I'm like, I've seen these places before. And unfortunately, I've driven around so many times that the memories are overlapping over each other because I'm getting lost and I'll see the same places and the same streets and I'll think, oh yeah, that's where I almost crashed and died. Oh, and that's where I almost crashed and died. No, wait, here. Or wait, now we go left or right. Or wait. So now all the memories are overlapping each other and I'm getting lost because I think I remember something and it's actually a different road. And so it's just a mess and I'm getting annoyed while I'm driving and I'm not even having fun anymore. And so I just want to listen to music pretty much. I'm not even really focusing on the roads anymore because I'm just always lost. I just kind of drive around and get lost for about 3 hours and then I go home. That's what my routine is. And so I'm not even having fun anymore because I'm not even paying attention because I'm like, I don't know where anything is. We already know this. So I started driving manual and it's really fun because I'll be listening to music and I get to dance with the car. So like, I'll put it into the gears to like the sound of the beat. And I'll like, move my foot to the clutch and I'll like, I'm breaking it down in the driver's seat. And it's really fun. But I remember thinking like, oh, I wish I could just like actually break it down. Like I wish I could just dance, honestly. But I still want to like move and I don't know. I just was like, but I still want to do something productive because I do dance. I do, and there's a difference because I'm like, I don't want to be in the same place though. Like I don't want to dance. I just want to be moving while listening to music. And I was like, too bad you can't do that though. I guess I'm just going to keep driving. And so I was, dancing with the manual and eventually I had to go back to my old automatic car. And as I was driving with the automatic car, was really boring because, there's no stick shift to switch into different gears anymore. So I'm just sitting. I felt like I was being kidnapped by the car. I was being kidnapped by the car because, it's just kind of driving itself and I'm just kind of pushing this little button on the floor to go faster or slower. And I was like, man, this really sucks. Like, I want to move and dance, and I can't even dance with the car anymore. Like, I just didn't, like, and then I was like, wait a minute. I think I just want a bike. I think I just want to ride a bike. And I haven't ridden a bike in 3 years. And even then, that was an offhand, like, spontaneous. I think I rode it once 3 years ago. So I really haven't ridden a bike. Since like middle school. So, probably around 10-ish years ago. I don't know, a long time ago. And, I'm always embarrassed because I'm like, no, I'm not a bike rider. Like, I don't like riding bikes. I remember in middle school being not liking riding bikes and being embarrassed and, it's kind of annoying. And then you get like kidnapped on your bike ride because you have to keep biking. And because I used to bike with my parents and I couldn't keep up with them and it would stress me out because they would go so far and I would be exhausted, a quarter in, and then I would, cry and make them take me home and they would be annoyed because they would be like, why didn't you say anything? And I was like, because we just started. I don't want to drive off the driveway and then, be like, all right, guys, that's enough. Let's go home. So I remember not liking bike riding. And so every time I would get the urge to bike ride, I would be like, no, like, I'm not a bike rider. Let's not do that. You know, that little bit of interest we have in exercising, let's kill that. Let's get rid of that and let's continue to stay stagnant and not do anything with our lives. That's better. So, you know, as I'm getting sick of driving and not learning anything productive and just, you know, and having the urge to bike ride as I'm driving, I was like, no, I'm not a bike rider. Like, I don't want to deal with that. And I was like, why am I fighting myself with doing something healthy? Why am I fighting? You know how many people force themselves to bike ride? Do you know how many people don't enjoy it and still make them do it anyway because it's the right thing to do? I have the urge to do it. I think I'm going to have fun. You know, like, I never want to do something if I always wait for, like, inspiration to hit me. I'm honestly shocked I made it through school because I would never do my assignments until I would wait until I, like, wanted to do the assignment. And it was going to be fun and it was going to be interesting. And luckily that would be weeks before the assignment was due. So I was a straight A student because I would be excited to do the assignment and I would do it, you know, immediately. So because I don't see the point in doing something if it's not going to be fun. So that's just how I live my life. If I don't have the inspiration or the urge or the reason for why I should do it, the only reason why I should do it is because it's good for you or you should, or then I'm not going to do it because I feel like you're forcing me to do that and that's not fun. So, you know, I always wait for the inspiration to hit me, but then when the inspiration hits me, I'm putting myself down. I'm like, no, I don't want to bike ride because I don't know. That's embarrassing. You know, I'm a bike rider. I'm better than all of you. Once again, who are these haters? The only hater is me. So, you know, I was so annoyed with myself. I'm driving and I'm getting annoyed because my body is telling me that I want to ride a bike and I'm forcing it to drive on the roads. And I'm like, oh, I'm not having fun. So eventually I was like, that's it. I'm going to ride a bike then. God. And I went home and I rode a bike. And it was really fun. I had a really fun time. And it was nice because, like I said, I haven't ridden a bike in years. And it was kind of embarrassing because I had to teach myself. I know the saying is like, it's like riding a bike. Like, you get on, you remember immediately. And I'm like, yes, kind of. You know, but at the same time, I was super wobbly. And, you know, my dad was helping me. Like, if you push, if you pedal harder, it's going to be easier for you. I'm like, I know. I learned this when I was 8, okay? Like, I felt like I was 8 years old again learning how to ride a bike with my dad, you know, on the same street and everything. And it was kind of embarrassing. But it still was fun. And, you know, I got to exercise and I got to listen to music and I got to, you know, go around and see my streets, but from a different perspective. Now, I only went in circles because I was so scared of, you know, when I was a kid, how I would get stuck what I thought was miles away from my house. So I only went literally around the block, around my house, just over and over and over and over and over again for an hour. And then I went home when my legs burned enough and I couldn't, because I still wanted to have fun. You know, I'm driving for 3 hours or whatever. So I wanted to continue biking, but my legs burned so much that I couldn't anymore. But it was still fun. I felt like I accomplished something. I felt good about myself. I felt, you know, like healthy and I was exercising and, you know, because when I would sit in the car, I could feel the like diabetes going through my veins. Because I would always buy this like chocolate milk drink from Dutch Bros. And so I would drink it as I'm driving and I'm drinking and driving. No, I'm drinking a chocolate shake while driving. And it has like 100 grams of sugar alone. And so I could feel the diabetes like coursing through my veins as I'm driving, because I'm not, you know, as much as my manual dancing was helping me, you know, I still was like, I feel like I should put all this sugar energy somewhere. But I would usually do these after work, which would be like 9 p.m. So I couldn't dance and I couldn't go bike riding. So I didn't really have anywhere to put this energy, and then I would drive around, I would go to sleep once I went home. So like I could feel the diabetes like entering my body. And so as I'm feeling uncomfortable, wishing I had somewhere to put this energy, that's also what added to my, well, why don't I just bike? Because literally I'm feeling bad about myself in every single way, physically, mentally, emotionally, because I'm not doing what my body wants me to do. Like I always wait until inspiration hits, and then, like I said, I'm beating myself down for what? What a problem to have. Oh, I have all this energy, and I want to like ride a bike, and I want to learn. Like this is so beneficial in every single way. I'm glad that I have this. I'm glad this is how my brain works, and I have this inspiration to live my life like this. And I'm not, because of my haters that do not exist. Like, oh my God, woman. So, yeah. And then when I actually listened to my body and I actually rode the stupid bike, I had fun and I enjoyed it and I felt accomplished and I felt good about myself. And I did something on my to-do list that I had been putting off for months because I finally, had the motivation. I'm like, yeah, I can do this. And so, like it's just beneficial in every single way. And, now if I keep doing this, right? Because then also today I had the urge to ride my bike after work. And so I did. And I'm like, I'm working out consistently now. Yay, that's a good thing that I have the motivation to do that. People always say that like, oh, your first day is so great. And then the next day is the hardest one because you have to continue. And sure, like everything did hurt more the second day of bike riding. But I still was having fun because I wanted to do it. Like I was once again sad when I had to stop bike riding because I was like, no, I want to keep driving around and listening to music. Like, I wish I could just like work out my body more so that way I could keep bike riding for longer. Like I wish I could exercise on a consistent schedule so that way my body becomes stronger. Like that's what I mean by I need to have my own motivations to do something. And the motivation of just like it's healthy. You have to exercise, or it's something to do, or it's I hate how women are told that like exercises to become skinny, because I know I'm overweight right now, which I don't mind. I think I look fine. I think I look attractive, but I might have opposite body dysmorphia. I don't know, but anyway, so because I remember as a kid, women would always tell me like, oh, you better start working out so you can like lose those pounds, or like you can get a good figure, and little 10-year-old me is like, I don't care. I think I look fine. I don't. I'm like, I want to run around because I like running around, not because I want to look attractive. Like I want to look attractive, but like I wanted to work out to be strong, or I wanted to work out to, for fun. Or so whenever the motivation from society and other women would be to lose weight and just like have, your worth be tied to a number, I'd be like, okay, that doesn't work for me. I don't care for that. So I never worked out because I always thought that the pressure had to be that like, oh, I need to like look a certain way. And I don't care for that. And I know it's interesting because that's like where society is leaning towards now. And once again, I just feel like I've always been ahead of the times. And part of that I can thank my parents for, because, my mom, she always emphasized exercise being for strength rather than for looks. And so I just grew up with that mindset. And so whenever I would, encounter other adults who had the societally accepted one, it was so foreign to me that I just would lose motivation in exercising, because I'm like, well, it's not fun to hate my body. I'm not having fun. So I'm just not going to exercise. And, it's a double-edged sword, I guess. I never fit in. And I feel like my way is better, honestly. Like, I'm seeing now, finally, people are like, hey, guys, let's stop tying our word to exercise only being so we can get skinny. What if we exercise for fun or to, like, become strong? And I'm like, yeah. That's, I feel like that's common sense. That's what I've been saying for years, and I always had adults be like, that's a strange way of looking at it, but you're a child. You're going to care about your body image one day. And I'm like, you guys are weird. You're weird for thinking like this. Like, I've always hated the sentiment of like, oh, like I ate something, I better work off those calories, or oh, I worked out, I earned, this chocolate bar, and I remember just being like, just eat the chocolate bar. I don't want to earn something. I should be able to. Why are you forcing scarcity on me? If I want the stupid chocolate bar, I'm gonna eat it. Like, if I feel like I don't have access to the chocolate bar at all times, I'm only gonna eat it because I'm panicking that I'm not gonna be able to eat it. So this sounds like a horrible system. But, as a 9-year-old, I couldn't really voice that in adult terms. Like, I just remember thinking, that's such a stupid way of... And whenever adults would impose that on me, I'd be like, I don't want to work out. Like, I don't want to... And then I would be called lazy, and I would be called, like, unhealthy. But because I was worried that if I allow myself to get stuck in that mindset, I'm not going to be able to eat chocolate bars whenever I want because I'm going to be too busy having to earn the chocolate bars. Like, I want to exercise for fun. I don't want to exercise because I want to eat a chocolate bar. And it's just so interesting to see that society is finally heading in that direction where, when I went to the eating disorder hospital, that's what they taught us, that you shouldn't restrict, you shouldn't have to earn food. Food should just be a right. You shouldn't have to exercise to, because, or to be forced, or if you're not having fun while exercising, then don't do it. And, the girls were always scared that, like, well, if I don't force myself to do it because I have to, then I'm just never going to do it. And, I always thought the same thing. But once again, I'm realizing after 21 years of not exercising, I'm getting bored. I'm like, I want to exercise. And so I'm listening to my body and I'm actually exercising. So radical, I know. It is actually radical. It's actually annoying how that is seen as radical. Ugh, I hate society. Anyway, so that's just how I'm living my life. And so that's why, I'm seeing how happy it's making me listening to my body and just doing, I'm doing the things that you're supposed to do naturally eventually. Eventually everything will come. Everything will work out. And I do, what I'm supposed to eventually. And I think people are jealous of me because I'm naturally intrinsically motivated to just work out for the sake of working out because it's fun. When they feel like they have to because they want to eat a stupid chocolate bar. It's so freeing not forcing myself to do the right thing or live. Like, I just never understood punishments as a child. I was like, why are we taking this away? Like, you're just making me have a scarcity mindset. And, I always felt like an adult as a child. And I hated being treated like a child because I was like, you guys don't know this yet, but I'm just an adult trapped inside a child's body. So this is weird. Like, could you imagine going to your coworker and being like, hey, you ate that chocolate bar, sit in the corner for 20 minutes. Like, you'd be like, what the frick is wrong with you? I'm an adult. You can't tell me what to do. So whenever adults would tell me what to do, I'd be like, I am just like you guys. I'm just a mini adult. Like, actually, like, I remember looking around as a child, around the kids around me being like, none of you guys are sentient. I'm better than all of you because I remember being this age. None of you guys, I would have conversations with my fellow classmates and I would think, why am I even having this conversation? You're not going to remember any of this. You're just a stupid child. I'm sentient and I'm aware and I'm an adult trapped inside this stupid 5-year-old's body. And you don't remember anything. And, you know, once I got to 10 years old, I was like, all right, well, I got to start being careful on, like, what I say because, you know, finally people, the children around me are becoming sentient. They actually are. But I, you know, still, I was always the weird kid because I would talk to my fellow peers and I'd be like, hey, guys, what do you think, what are the values that you would uphold in your marriage? And they would be like, we're 6. Can we just play tag, please? And I'd be like, no, because tag is boring. I mean, tag was fun. But we can play tag and we can also talk about the economic state of the world. And, you know, children always thought it was so strange because they're like, why would we talk about boring adult topics? And, you know, I was like, because I am an adult. I'm stuck. I can't wait until I'm, you know, I would always tell adults in my life, like, oh, I can't wait until I'm an adult and I get to do everything that I want and I get to have fun. And all the adults in my life would be like, oh my God, you know, you're just saying that now, but, you know, you should enjoy your childhood, and I never want to be an adult. And to be fair, I understand where they're coming from now. Like, I still think that kids should enjoy their childhood, but I think childhood is terrible. I think how we treat children is so strange, and I think we're stricter with kids than we are with adults because we assume that adults are going to live how they live. And I understand that a child doesn't have any of that. I understand that I was a strange child. But I think if I was just allowed to, like, live how I wanted to, I would have been fine. I think, you know, just let me eat what I want. Don't tell me that I have to wait until 6 p.m. What is going to happen? What is the difference with 6 p.m. and now if I'm hungry now? I don't want to wait 2 hours to eat. I'm hungry now. Like, and I know delayed gratification, but I'm hungry. Like, I hate that. I hate whenever I see that happen with children. Like, I work at a grocery store now, and, like, adults are so strange. You know, do you guys ever think about how strange it is that I think in elementary school, we were, like, being treated like, you know, military. Like, they made our straight lines be so, like, militarily strict. Like, why did we have to have the straightest lines in kindergarten? And if, like, you stepped one foot out of line, then, like, we had to start the whole, you know, line over. I don't know if they still do that in elementary schools where you have to, like, create the perfectly straightest line. But every single time as an adult, I stand in a line, I always think, this is not elementary school standard. Do you see how terrible we actually are at creating lines as a society when we're an adult? Why, as children, do we have to be, like, in a perfectly, you know, line? Just let me walk from class to class. So strange, so strange. And I remember as a child even thinking that. And now as an adult, I'm like, yeah, what was wrong with us? What? So, that's why I never want children, because it's just, I feel like you should be able to do your own thing, man. Who am I to tell you what to do? You know yourself best, but my baby is not going to be able to know how to feed itself. Like, I'm going to be like, well, what are you feeling tonight? Who am I to say if we should have pizza or not? And my baby's just going to be like, why? I'm a baby. I don't know. Die because I'm gonna be like, well, if you want to starve to death, that's your choice to die. Oh, I don't know. I grew up in a very radical family, and I'm very glad, because I think if I grew up in a neurotypical family in the typical, like, because I also grew up in a very matriarchal household, which was enjoyable. But yeah, so that's what I'm struggling with, of just like, I want to learn this language and I want to do so many things. And I don't, because of my invisible haters that don't exist. So, no, I don't know if this means that I'm going to learn French now. I don't want to be known as the French person. I don't like French. But, I mean, would be good to know if I'm already trying to teach myself it myself by learning Mika lyrics. Like, I'm gonna go to Belgium right now, and all I'm gonna sing is like Mika lyrics. Mika English gibberish, Franglish lyrics. You know, I'm not gonna know how to ask where's the train station. I'm just gonna know how to say like pourquoi shigesh feli. I don't even know what I'm saying. I'm just singing what he says in the song. You know, these people are gonna be like, excuse me? Like, or are you having a stroke? Like, are you okay? They're gonna ask if I need the hospital, and I don't even know what they're asking because I never learned French, you know? I only know Mika. I can only speak in Mika lyrics. In fake English, French Mika lyrics. So that is seriously what I'm struggling with right now. And it's annoying because